Yo, what's going on, all you Hexakin, Pulsekin, Axikin, soon-to-be Project Pisicans? Hope you're having a fantastic, what is today, Thursday afternoon here in the States and wherever you are in the world. So the last few months, I've been thinking a lot about, what's this cycle look like for the peak and what are we going to do with our capital at the end? And so I got digging into some of the yield farms on Ethereum, and I stumbled upon Summer.fi, which was like this Maker and Aave and Morpho Blue and Spark and some of these other protocols that I was paying anywhere from like 10 to 15%, as high as 80 to 90% APRs on these LTV loops between like wrapped staked ETH and then wrapped ETH, or between savings DAI and another stable coin. And it got me thinking a lot more about like liquid staking derivatives and different kinds of yield loops that could be created in a totally untapped market on the PulseChain. And so like I'm no stranger to the Project Pi team. They've been working on their own liquid staking derivatives platform now for some time. And my first time I actually got to judge them at the Vegas conference last March, I think it was. This would have been a few months back, and they ended up taking home like the $2,000 grand prize for the best project that was up there for that day. And so that was cool. They showed that they have a good idea and they have what it takes to help maybe jumpstart what might end up being like a multi-million, potentially multi-billion with a B dollar protocol. That's kind of how it's played out on Ethereum. These liquid staking derivatives protocols are like harboring billions of dollars of value, and it's an untapped market here on the PulseChain. And so I'm excited to get in with these guys and learn more about it and find out like what can we do to get involved, when is it coming, and I think they even have like some sort of a reward or contest they're going to be doing soon as well. So perhaps maybe they'll talk about that toward the end of the stream. So stick around till the end if you want to know more about that. I know they're going to do a demo as well. So, that should be good to see, how do we even use the protocol? And then I'm going to ask them how they feel about, competition. This new, I think Jex, it's an old OG Hexakin, is also affiliated with or launching his own liquid staking derivatives platform called Vouch. And so I just want to kind of get their take on that as well. So, let's see what's last stuff. Anyway, well, I'll just bring these guys up and let them kind of take over. And so I'm going to bring up Chris and JB. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show.
Yo, what's up, everyone?
Happy to have you guys here. Yeah. Again, we just started talking again after taking a little bit of a break here over the summer, and what's really been interesting to me is these ideas of how you can utilize a platform that does liquid staking to how can you further use like PulseChain, like with the cheap fees and the fast transactions, blah, blah. How can you use that plus like something like the PPY token to reward holders and to create events where this system feeds value back into itself on its own through just like regular payment cycles and stuff like that. And this is kind of where our discussions went. But that's a little bit more advanced. Maybe later in the talk we could talk about that. But let's start off with what you guys want to nail down today. Maybe some of the main points that you guys wanted to bring up.
Yeah. So Project Pi, we have two main features. Liquid staking is obviously one of them, and the second is actually a service we provide for people that want to become a node operator. We call them Pi pools. This allows people to, help run the PulseChain ecosystem and actually earn rewards. But something special that we do is actually give, more rewards than solo validators. And Chris is going to go over this because he's actually the one building this out. So he knows this like the back of his hand. But it's a no-brainer incentive for all existing PulseChain validators. Why pay 32 million Pulse to earn about 9-10% APY when you could be utilizing Pi pools with only 16 million Pulse and earn double, almost even quadruple the amount of rewards APY. But I'm gonna let him speak on that. What I'm gonna go over is the liquid staking aspect. It's a little bit simpler. So I feel like I'm up for the task. So the first thing I want to explain is, what is liquid staking? Everyone knows, or everyone should know what staking is. If you've been in the ecosystem long enough, you basically have a token, you lock it up, and you earn rewards for locking up your capital. Where liquid staking is a little bit different and a little bit special is you're still able to earn your rewards, but the great thing is you're able to remain liquid, and that's where the name kind of comes in. And I'll do a quick little demonstration just to see how easy this process is. So do you mind if I start sharing my screen?
Yeah, I'll pull you up as soon as you get it up. So this is like a key component that, so in Hex, when you lock money up and you stake it, that's dead capital. Like it's gone. It's in the future. It's not something that you can use now. I mean, there are arguments that you're virtually lending the ability to sell to people that are liquid. But with a liquid staking derivative, you're actually liquid on the asset and you're able to earn a yield. And then in the future, you may be able to even build a layer on top of that where you could take this liquid staked derivative and earn yield while combining it with the native asset. So there's all these other layers of complexity that can be added later on. But first, we got to get off the ground and get going. So here's the I'll pull up your screen here now.
All right, so I'm gonna just take you guys to our main website, projectpi.xyz. You see this button right here, liquid stake. You just want to go here. It'll take you to this tab. Connect to my MetaMask account. So we are on testnet at the moment, very soon to go main. But as you can see, I have about 50,000 T-Pulse inside of my wallet. And, another question I want to bring is, who is liquid staking for? It's literally for everyone that is holding Pulse. If you have Pulse and it's just sitting in your wallet, why not put it to work? At the end of the year, if you have 50,000 and you don't buy, you'll still have 50,000 at the end of the year. Why not put it to work? And as time passes by, you're accumulating more and more Pulse, because if you're in this ecosystem, obviously you would want more of those tokens. So I'm gonna just type in 50,000 right here, the max. Maybe I don't know if this will go.
This is a good point where I'll ask a question of, most people will be like, this sounds great, but how can we be rest assured that the protocol has no leaks, no flaws, anything like that? You guys can speak to audits and all that you guys will be doing.
Yeah, so we have been working with a couple auditing companies. The most recent one is Zokyo. And that's another thing that's kind of not stopping us from going from main, but something that we want to really make sure happens before we do go on main. We want to make sure all of our contracts are audited so that there is no loopholes or leaks, because security is number one. We will be managing, a lot of money. So we want to make sure our system is airtight. And that's one of the things that we're kind of working on right now. And I'll also add in the fact that when you're liquid staking, people might ask where the rewards are coming from. So liquid staking, when I'm depositing this amount of Pulse into Project Pi platform, is actually being paired with node validators. So you're actually help running the ecosystem. So all the rewards that are being distributed to you is the same rewards that's being distributed to all the node operators that are help running the PulseChain ecosystem. But let's go ahead and switch this Pulse into ST Pulse.
Hey,
and
can
ST
I jump
Pulse,
in real quick?
Yeah,
you may want to do like 49. Don't use all of it because you need some for gas. Remember
for
that.
the gas. I was thinking the same thing. So I'll just drop down
just
to
so
40.
you know, like I'm a bit of like a hoarder when it comes to my testnet PLS, because the faucet only shoots out like 10 per day, and so I don't know even know if there's another way to get them, but
hey, I can give you some more after the stream if you need.
Okay. Yeah, because we're doing some stuff on the DevNet, and we're like, oh, can you send me some Pulse? You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry.
Chris got a lot. But yeah, as simple as clicking that one button, hitting confirm, and should go through.
So something that comes to mind right away is like, okay, so this is on testnet. The prices aren't
Mhm.
accurate to like what the full, live full scale mainnet network would be. But
Mhm.
theoretically, that conversion rate that he would have got would have been probably even a little bit more. He would have gotten a little less ST pulse because there should be a premium on this. Like it'll probably be, I don't know what we've seen on Ethereum, anywhere from like 2% to as high as like I think 12% sometimes, depending on the price at that given time. So I mean, these staked pulses or in an ETH world, staked wrapped ETH, they can get a nice little premium on them.
You want to click on
Yeah.
the view liquid staking statistics, JB?
Yeah. Is there something you wanted to point out?
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned the APY on Ethereum. It's like on average between 2 to 12%, and our testnet we're seeing about 4.64. When I first started this and running it, it was somewhere around 3.5% or so. So yeah, as more rewards start coming in from the validators that are actually helping the system, the more rewards actually do come in, that increases the APY.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's honestly what I just did is as easy as that. So my pulse has been deposited into Project Pi. If I check my wallet, I should have ST Pulse. I don't think I have the token imported.
You
Let
can
me
click
see.
it at add ST Pulse to token
Right
to
here.
wallet at the bottom right there.
Yeah, so let me just do that real quick. Let's check again. Yep. So I deposited 40,000 Pulse into Project Pi. I received 39,849 ST Pulse, and it's a little bit less because of the exchange rate you see right here. And as time goes by, this number is going to continue to drop. So basically what that means is as the exchange rate is dropping, my ST Pulse is just becoming more and more invaluable compared to each individual pulse. So, in a year's time, when I convert my 39,000 back into Pulse, it should be more than the 40,000 that I initially deposited.
Yeah, Chris, can you explain a little bit why that happens over time? Why does the ST Pulse price get more and more? Just kind of explain.
Yeah, for sure. It's as simple as I always just tell people you essentially are a synthetic validator, like you're a mini validator. So ST Pulse is Pulse plus the rewards that have accumulated over time. And so it's literally like you have Pulse that's being dumped into the ST Pulse or the liquid staking protocol, and that's going to increase the value of ST Pulse over time.
And we can get into the supply dynamics of that a little bit later. But for example, just like one or two lines on, like, basically you could take that ST Pulse at some point and go to the protocol and burn it away for the equivalent value that's backing it, right? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so anytime I want, I could convert my ST Pulse back into Pulse. There is no like wait period. So honestly speaking,
It
like
doesn't,
you
can't unmint it though, right? Like once SCPLS has been created, is it just a one-way traffic ramp, or is it like, can I reverse the process as well, or is that something that just validators do? Like I don't really understand that part myself.
when you
No,
say
you can reverse the process. You'll be able to reverse it. Like if JB wanted to click on max on ST Pulse, then he would receive the that's how much he would receive back.
Okay, so this, just to be clear, because it looks a lot like a swap interface. This isn't a swap interface. This is just a portal to talk to the contract.
Yep.
Yeah, gotcha.
So very simple, very easy to do. If you anytime you want to, swap back, you can. There will be a fee that I've been talking to JB and Vandell about where those fees are going to go. Some of it is going to go into basically being burned away, and I can explain that a little later. Some is going to go into an LP, just talking about adding the value to liquidity pools. Some is going to go back to obviously Project Pi Foundation. And we have one more thing, but I don't want to talk about it just yet because it's going to be super awesome, but I don't want to explain that just yet.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have too much more to talk about this. I mean, that just reiterates how simple this is. You really just click a button, now you're earning rewards. Like I said, this is for all PulseChain holders or Pulse holders. Just for me, it doesn't make sense to just hold your Pulse in your wallet when you can put it to work and basically earn more Pulse. And just one last thing I want to show off before I pass it over to Chris is if you look down here, protocol stats, this is going to bring you to data.projectpi.xyz. So Chris actually built all of this out, which is super impressive.
No fork. I built all of this out. No fork.
I don't know the exact number lines of code, but I think it's like close to like 3 million or something like that. So Chris definitely has been putting in the work, but this is the place to be if you want to look up any data related information about Project Pi. So, we are on testnet, so the total deposits just is going over all the T-Pulse that's actually inside of the system. But if we go to the liquid staking tab, it tells you the APY. This number right here basically tells you how much Pulse is basically being distributed to all of the ST Pulse holders and the current exchange rate, and then how many people are actually utilizing our protocol. And then this chart is really dope. It basically kind of tracks the exchange rate. And as you can see, as time progresses, it's just continuing to increase. So just thinking like long-term wise, like a year from now, even a couple months from now, like where your Pulse or your ST Pulse will sit at compared to just holding Pulse.
Nice.
Sorry to cut you off. No, not fast, Abdul. Not 3 million lines of code. I think it was something related to the commits in GitHub, but it's not 3 million lines of code. No, that's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, that's outside of my realm. I don't know anything about coding. So, but yeah, that's basically it for liquid staking. I do want to pass it over to Chris. He's gonna explain a little bit more about the actual Pi pools. And this is the really cool part because what they're doing is very game changing. So I'm gonna end my screen share and then I'm gonna pass it over.
Sounds good.
All right, and then I shall present. Let me share screen. I do the entire window. All right, and so I guess I can do a whole full demonstration.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah,
been waiting for this for a while.
Let's go. So can you see my screen, right? You can see
You're
everything? All right, awesome. So we're at Project Hub, and we also have, I guess I'll just full screen this for now. All right, so we're going to go to the validate section, and then we're actually going to go to create a Pi pool, and we're going to validate with your own node. Now, I actually have some nodes running. As you can see, I have OVH Cloud here, and if I wanted to, I could quickly go into my validator. It's actually on a virtual private server or VPS. What I'll do is I'll do a Docker PS and then Docker logs validator, and actually no, this is the wrong one. This is right, but that's not the right. I've been testing all these different validators, so bear with me, but that's not the right one. I believe it's actually going to be this one here. Let's see. But I have basically I just want to just show that we have the validators up and running, and
Yeah.
and going and
Go
such.
ahead and get that going. I'm going to answer this question. Bitfinesse is wondering where the rewards come from. So there's two components to this protocol. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but there's it's literally just validator rewards. So validators in general on PulseChain are producing anywhere from like 8 to 9% on the low end to as high as like 12% on the high end. You could just say average of 10% APR. So that's always getting fed into the STPLS valuation. So that's why it has a premium, is because it's always collecting more and more PLS from the validators that are running inside of their protocol. And then additionally, there's another token, a deflationary token called PPY, and they'll tell you more about that later, which is part of the reward system.
Okay. Yeah, it's running. I mean, it even says some of the validators are active. I've been running this for about, I think it said 4 months. So I'm not going to go all the way to the very end. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the credentials that I got from my validator that I just showed from here. And so what I'll do is, and I saved the name for you, Axis. So I'm going to click select, and then I'm going to upload. And then I'm going to go to desktop, and I'm going to click axis.json. Now that one has the credentials, in which this is the pub key. And if you have created a validator, you should know you have a pub key, you have your withdrawal credentials, you have your signature, and your data deposit route. Now, the actual withdrawal credentials to use our protocol is actually going to be on data in PyPools. You would have to actually be able to connect to the withdrawal address for the PyPools, basically to run it. So you would click generate node ID. So I'm going to go ahead and generate a node ID and click confirm. And then once I have the node ID, I'm going to go ahead and click on I have a node ID. So the node ID has been created for me. I'm going to click I have a node ID, and the check is there. I'm good to go. 5 days duration to 15 days on testnet. On mainnet, it'll be 15 days to 365 days. We're just going to choose 5 days for now. So then I can click next. And then I already have some running, which I can explain that afterwards. But for right now, we're just going to click skip because my collateral ratio is already at 48.65. What that means is that, yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
what that means is you have to put up a minimum of 25% of PPY along with the 16 million pulse to become a validator on our protocol. And the 25% collateral is the price of basically 1/4 of the 16 million price in US dollar. So if the 16 million is $400, then you need $100 in PPY on top of the $400 to run a PyPool. And so I'm just going to click skip step for now because I have the current ratio. And then I'm going to deposit my 16 million pulse.
And I'll just add in here, tokenomics, like it's kind of important to have like a token like PPY like attached to the protocol, because it's like kind of acts like a value sink that kind of it puts a bid on PPY, which should uplift the system over time. Said very quickly.
So the PyPool has been created successfully. We're going to go to the dashboard. So if you notice, I had a 48-point-something% collateral ratio. It went down because I used some of the PPY that I actually already had staked in the system. And so I'm going to go down to some of the previous PyPools and basically kind of just go over some of the settings. Again, I've tested quite a bit of these. So the first thing is the 2 canceled ones. Now, the reason why they're canceled is if I were to go to data.projectpi.xyz and then I click on PyPools, then I'll show you the 2 cancel ones, which this is going to be all, this is Ledger, this is all on chain, so people will be able to see it. The first 2 cancel ones, the withdrawal credentials are incorrect. Someone maybe tried to put in their own withdrawal credentials, but you can't do that for this system. You have to actually use the Pi pool withdrawal address. So if I actually go to 14, which is in the pre-launch, and I click the arrow, then it's green because yes, I used the correct withdrawal credentials. Now I can go back and I can go to finished. Finished are the ones that are obviously finished. They're exited out the system. Then you have some staking ones and you have a withdrawable one. The staking ones obviously are the ones that are actually still being in the system right now. Of course, these two, they should have exited a long time ago. And I'll show you what happens a little later when you don't exit at the time that you're supposed to. I feel that it will be good to basically give people the free reign to actually be able to still control like their validator to some extent, including like the actual withdrawals. But again, I won't explain that too much. The one that's staking is one that, or the one that says staking, but it says exited unslashed. That means that the person literally exited out their validator. So I exited out this validator last night. And mind you, you can see that I added this feature. Basically, you can see the statuses of all of the ones that are actually active. So how I had to do it was I had to basically connect the node ID basically through the pub key and basically connect the validator statuses based off of the staking or the different Pi pool statuses. But for the pre-launch is the one that we just did not too long ago. And what that means is it's just simply waiting for the other 16 million polls to be in the system from the liquid staking side. So what I can actually do is I can go back to analytics and then go to liquid staking. And I can see that, go to total deposits. And I can see that the liquid staking T-Pulse is more than enough to get this person started for their validator, because that's basically the premise. Is we're wanting to support PulseChain. We want to make sure that PulseChain is running effectively and efficiently. And that's only going to happen through the strength of the validators. So we're going to go ahead and kick this person off. So I had to create another site. It's localhost right now, but basically this is going to be for people that we run, as well as anyone we hire. They'll be able to kick this operation off. So what we'll do is we'll select the node ID. Let me refresh the page first. And so select node ID. It's F11. And mind you, if I go back to the dashboard, it is F11. Again, I did check to see that the person for number 14 did use the correct withdrawal credentials. So once we see that they have enough and they use the correct withdrawal credentials, it's in green, then we can go ahead and we can click claim and initiate deposit. And so by doing that, it's claiming the 16 million pulse from the vault from the person that the node operator essentially, and then it's also collecting the 16 million from the liquid staker side and combining that to make the 32 million, and then it is deposited into the person's validator. So at this point, now it says launched, it says validator no deposited. And so what we can do after that is I can go back to number 14. Mind you, if I were to refresh this page, which it did say pre-launched at first, I refresh the page and I go back to 14. It says now launched 5 days. Pi pool start time was actually, not too long ago. So then I click the button again and I select the pub key. And I'll go to validators this time and I'll paste it and see what happens. And look at that. The deposit has went through. So this person literally now has the 32 million pulse that was accumulated from the liquid stakers, as well as the 16 from the node operator. The next thing I wanted to show you is we can go to the liquid staking operations, but this page here basically is going to go through each section from basically from our operation side. So we'll be able to, distribute rewards or end staking, or, go from there. Now for the liquid staking operations, you have the same APY, you have the last rewards and the exchange rate, as well as the amount to burn. And you also have the distribute excess pulse, because there's going to be times where there's going to be more pulse in the system that we can just freely, anytime we want. Well, it won't be anytime we want. It will basically be, and for testnet right now, I have it set to 2 times a day. I'm still trying to determine if I want to set it to 2 times a day, or keep it or change it to 1 time per day on mainnet. But maybe I might put that in the protocol DAO. And so then anyone that is in the DAO will be able to, vote for those changes.
Yeah, this is a good point to probably like segue in and ask a couple questions. So yeah, you're saying that there is maybe an attempt here to like move away from admin keys and like make some sort of like a DAO, right? So it's more less centralized.
Yeah, so there's going to be several functions that that's already inside, basically in the protocol DAO, that will allow for changes to happen once they're voted on. One of the functions would be that, again, there's going to be fees from anyone that converts from ST Pulse back into Pulse. The number I have it set right now is 4%. On mainnet, I'm thinking of setting it to a minimum bound of 3% to an upper bound of 7%. Don't want to set it too high, because then it would not be fair for liquid stakers when they unstake, when that, the time arises. We want it to be a fair system, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those fees, again, I can't speak on everything, but some of those fees will be distributed in a way where, it'll go back to essentially the ecosystem, including, I forgot to mention this, the reason why I have this is that some of the ST Pulse will be burned away. We decided that we want to burn some ST Pulse away, because think of it like this. We're building this on PulseChain first. So we want to make it to where we burn some Pulse, not just PPY, but some Pulse, so that the amount of Pulse is deflationary as well. But if we burn the ST Pulse, that's like burning the Pulse plus a little bit of the extra rewards that are coming in, just a little bit. So it's like, if 1 ST Pulse is equal to 1.1 Pulse, well, that means that when I burn that 1 Pulse, I'm burning a little bit more, or I'm sorry, when I'm burning a little bit more ST Pulse, I'm burning a little bit more Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this function in here that I can actually use to also burn ST Pulse as well.
All right. Is this a fork of Rocket Pool? Somebody asked.
Essentially, it is. It's more so, I would say, honestly, it's more so a fork of a company called GoGoPool. They built liquid staking on AVAX. And so some of the core functions and features I use to actually build all this out. And yeah.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then another question was, what does the percentage return change according to the amount staked? And I think they're talking about PPY.
Yes, correct. So let me go to another website that I had to build out called the portal. And so I'm going to change the name. My goal is I'm going to actually move the home, or I'm going to delete I'm actually going to migrate everything to analytics page. That's the goal. The calculator may end up being the hardest thing, but I got the links already on analytics. This is about us. But besides the point, the calculator, mind you, again, because we're on testnet, it's not going to be 100%, but it's going to be close enough. So I basically had to just think of the you know, considering the price of Pulse, and if PPY it's at, let's say 4 cents, like right now, the more you stake in PPY, the higher the APY is for the validators. So on the low end, on the low end of things, you're looking at about 23.85 APY versus the APY. Well, it's in APR terms for the validators is 9.97 roughly for the APR. I think APY is about 10.13, 10.10 APY if you want to do the math. But essentially, the Pi pools will allow you to actually earn more while staking less because you're earning 2 tokens. And so if you are to go up to, let's say, what was my number at? Let's go to the dashboard. So I'm at a 36.49. So if I was to do that, let's say I went to that 36, we'll just do 36 right here, somewhere around there. Then it's saying I'm basically going to be earning the 27.85 APY once I'm done within 5 days. And so it shows that as far as rewards, the 36% collateralization, if I have a certain amount staked, then I get, a share of some of the rewards. The monthly PPY rewards would be about 352. The monthly amount in USD for PPY, it's about $12.85. And the yearly amount in USD is the 154.16. And that's for PPY. For Pulse, it'll be a little bit, it'll be the same amount basically. So for let's say for the whole year, it's saying that right now you're earning about this much, $66.92 from the PulseChain network on our protocol. But the reason why it is a little bit less than what you would normally see if you did a standalone validator is because that you have to consider the rewards that's going to be divided amongst the liquid stakers and the validators. How I had set it up, it's 57.5% of the Pulse rewards from validators are going to the node operators, and 42.5% is going to the liquid stakers.
Can I say something real quick?
Of course.
So someone actually told me about this this idea, which I think is just genius. So if you are already a node operator and you have 32 million Pulse inside of your node, but you want to earn more APY, you can still earn quote unquote the full amount of Pulse and the PPY token. And basically how that's done is instead of the 32 million that you would need if you're solo validating, for Pi pools, you only need 16 million. So that's half. So you can set up a Pi pool with 16 million and then use the PPY token to get that going. But with the other 16 million that you have, you can just throw that into liquid staking. So now you're getting the full amount of the APY coming from the PulseChain validators, but you're also getting the PPY token on top. So if you still want more Pulse, you want the full amount, I would suggest 16 million to set up the Pi pool and use that other half in the liquid staking side.
Yes. So that's the calculator. I want to go back to the dev center. Some of the things that because Access, you brought up like the admin keys and such. There are going to be a lot of public functions as well, like sync rewards. That's going to be a public function. I think that's going to be something I actually add into the analytics page. So anyone, as long as the time is available, I'll probably put it either here and probably put a timer because you can see right here, it says about 16 hours ago. I may make another card and put the timer, how long is remaining, and then put like the actual button to sync the rewards. And what that's doing is it's basically taking the rewards that have been accumulated from the system, and it's depositing it into the liquid stake, like basically just where you see the last rewards that's coming from syncing the rewards that's coming in from the system itself. That's a public function. Another public function that I think off the top of my head, is the rewards cycle. Funny enough, I actually just added this on the stream or before the stream, maybe like 10 minutes before. So we're going to actually see if it works. What we can do is we can actually go to these. Actually, I don't have to do that. Let's just press the button. On testnet, it's every 8 days, but on mainnet, it'll be every 28 days. And so by clicking the button, when it's ready, I can confirm it. And then what's going to happen is it essentially inflates PPY. But throughout the inflation, there's going to be a 5% deflationary effect. So 5% of the tokens would be burned away. If I was to refresh the page, let's see if this works. Okay, it worked because I see that the number went from the 22 to the 44. So if I were to go back to the analytics page and I go to TPPY, then you'll see here that the T inflation over time should be around like interval 20, 29. Yeah. So, put it this way, like I built this to the T, like the inflation and
this here is kind of what I dig it. Like, I think that we had talked briefly before you guys were at that point and just talking about like what would make sense for tokenomics for this system. And so it's if you go back to that page, it looked like it was like a linear or slightly increasing function, but you're saying that every cycle there's a 5% burn. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So there will be about a 5% burn every 28 days on mainnet. And that's going to be very key. All of the other, if you can quote me, all of the other liquid staking protocols from what I've seen, at least, have been pure inflationary. Mm-hmm. So they're constantly, divvying out rewards consistently. And that's cool and all, but want to bring something different to the table, want to bring something different to PulseChain. And I believe that having a little bit of a deflationary effect will be awesome. You don't have to be anything too drastic. When I first started, I think I had it set to like 10% deflation.
That's too
That's
much. Yeah.
Way too much. But I think that 5% is a pretty sweet spot. And then just kind of adding on.
Hey, if you're doing 5%, you're doing better than the Fed in the other direction, inflation per year. So
and so this chart here, crazy enough, the hardest thing about this was actually the dot. The dot represents the total current supply, in which I had to basically, get my tokenomics down to like actually go through the full chart. So it actually would tell you basically like the difference after the burn and, the inflation and such and how much has been burned. And it goes through basically because it's every 8 days. It'll basically be like every 3.5 intervals that you can actually see where everything was. So
here's a tough question for you.
Okay.
So what happens when you hit 314 total supply then? How does the reward system react to that? Or is it impossible? Does it get near zero but never hits zero? How does that work?
No. I love that question. So, okay. So I have it to where over the next 4 years, it'll actually be, inflating with some deflationary metrics of the 5%. Mm-hmm. But after that 4th year, like you mentioned, it hits the max supply, the 314 million. After that, it's purely deflational. And because there's no more inflation, put it that way. So you're just going to constantly see PPY being burned away. I can explain some other stuff in a little minute, but the main core thing about it is that after the 4th year, PPY is pure deflationary. Mm-hmm. And what will happen is it's not going to affect the system because the inflation in itself allows for the rewards to be accumulated within the the rewards pool smart contract. So there'll still be enough rewards to be able to be divvied out to liquid stakers. To node operators. Even after that, but it'll be to where it's just no more inflation from there.
That's confusing to me. So you're saying that once the 314 million total supply is now hit, capped, and fully distributed.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right in saying that? So then where does additional PPY rewards come from at that point? Like, or is there just, or does it cap there and then now you're only receiving PLS at that point, or how does that work?
No. So where it's coming from is it's still the rewards, because, okay, put it this way. Let's say, and I can go back to the calculator. Let's say that I've earned, 314 or 352 PPY, but in a million was inflated for that month. So, 28 days hit, a million was inflated, a million PPY was inflated. And for that same amount of time, one person earned the 352. Well, if you continue to keep going until the 4-year mark, that doesn't necessarily mean that all those tokens are going to be distributed to the node operators. So those tokens will still be basically in the rewards pool contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense now. So yeah, I didn't understand that part, that there's a certain amount of 20 28 days there's a certain amount of inflation that ends up in the rewards pool that's not distributed.
Yes, correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
okay, so then that really makes, so this is cool because what it sets up nicely for is a situation where the rewards pool gets smaller and smaller after year 4. The rewards pool is capped, and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller over time. But you're going to see a reflexive movement in price, where, assuming that this protocol is successful and takes off, the price of PPY will be reflexive in that way. It'll increase at the same rate as you're seeing a decrease in newly distributed supply, because it should effectively get to a situation where the existing rewards pool trends towards zero but can never hit zero. And so there could be a point in like 20 years where you're only getting, like, the whole system's only inflating by like 100 PPY per cycle, but the PPY price should reflect with a much, much higher price at that point.
yeah, that too. So, ideally higher price, it gets close to, or it gets to that value of the 314 million supply.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, there's no more inflation. It's just purely deflationary via burning. Kind of leading into like the next thing. So there is a point like for example, let's say with this person, mind you, this person here, like, they should have been exited out. So because of that, if I were to go to, let's see, 1A38, and I were to check their, I think it's actually in the pie pool operations. If I distribute the rewards, here we go. So post earn this cycle, I'm actually just hit 0 because they actually should have already been exited out. So the rewards is not going to be actually distributed. That person just didn't earn anything. The value, this percentage and the value should actually decrease, which you probably just saw it do it. And so what would happen, just for a penalty, is if a person actually didn't withdraw out of their validator at a specific time, and mind you, we'll have a grace period there, it's going to be a grace period, but you effectively would be losing PPY that you staked. That lowers the collateral ratio as well as the amount PPY staked. And what happens after that is that PPY goes into the burn pool. And so then that would, effectively affect the tokenomics as well, because then those tokens would be burned from there. So imagine after 4 years that there's no more inflation. The rewards can still be distributed amongst node operators, but if there's no more inflation, and God forbid, there are a lot of like people that don't know what they're doing, like setting up validators, and they mess up on some things. There's going to be some PPY that would be burned away consistently from, people that may not actually have their node running. Because if you don't have your node running after, we'll be monitoring that, then it'll, you wouldn't receive any post rewards for that cycle as well. And if you don't receive any post reward cycles, then you lose out on your PPY, effectively called slashing the PPY. And so then another thing is, I'm just going through all the buttons. So calculate and distribute rewards. So essentially, I just made it as simple as a person literally could just go, like, well, not a person, but like in the dev center, we would just be able to just put the person's user address, what they connected to the actual Pi pool. So for example, in the dashboard, this person ending at 313E, if I go to analytics and I see 313E, okay, that person here, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to click calculate and distribute rewards, and you click confirm. And what should happen is this loading, which that's a bug. I have to fix that. What's going to end up happening is, there we go. The rewards came through. So it was 1,439.44 PPY that this person was rewarded for actually, being in the system and, doing their thing. And then they've exited unslashed. What I can do too is I have one here that is withdrawable. And so if I click on withdrawable, it's telling me that now I can actually claim my 16 million pulse back, because I had used 16 million pulse. So the number, I know you probably don't see it. I had, I don't think you'll be able to actually see my MetaMask wallet just from the stream, but ultimately I did receive it back. And now
we could see that pop up.
Okay, cool. So yeah, now it says as finished. Everything's good to go. And then for the actual deposit, simply with the deposit, with validators, it takes 16 to 24 hours for it to actually go through. But yeah, this is essentially the beginning system of how everything essentially works with the system. In staking or distribute rewards, I showed you that. The in staking in itself would be for people that actually are like this person here. Once this says it's exited, like fully exited, then I will be able to end their stake. I won't know until I actually look into their pub key to see that it's fully exited out. And so, yeah, it's quite a bit of monitoring to do, but that's the reason why ultimately I'm building this out to not just for the Project Pi team, but essentially for certain DAO members that, or anyone that may want to work for us in the future, because this is big. I mean, this is a lot. And mind you, I think I've built out like 85, 90% of all of this. So this is big for myself. I'm like, how looking back, I'm like, how the hell did I
many months of blood, sweat, and tears, I think.
I've stayed up. I've stayed up so many days till like 4 a.m. trying to get all this to work.
Amazing, man. Well, your hard work is appreciated. Let's hope the communities comes in and supports and gets behind you guys. Just a couple other questions here came in. This was an easy one probably to answer for you guys. Can I just use the liquid staking feature without dealing with the rest? And I think that's what you guys showed off at the beginning, right?
Yes. So essentially, if you're not comfortable with like all of this, because it can be confusing. I mean, you're essentially setting up a validator, and it's a lot of work to do that. I know that can be intimidating, but if you simply want to just liquid stake, you can. You simply can just come here and deposit a certain amount and click deposit and just simply wait. And you essentially would be a liquid staker, aka a synthetic validator. You would be earning roughly 4.63%. Well, this is on testnet. The numbers could be higher or lower. put it this way, on mainnet, I don't want it to be so high that it eats away and it cannibalizes the node operators. Because if it's at 23, like if the liquid stakers are earning like the same as the node validators, they're not going to be any node validators.
Mm-hmm.
So it cannot be that high. But I do want to see it ideally, in my opinion, on mainnet. I would love to see it around 8 to 9%. That would be super awesome, because then you literally would have people that will be able to liquid stake without having to worry about, you know, being a validator.
And then, so then that's something that you guys would manage, that pulse, right? The team would manage that pulse to set up validators on the back end, or how does that work? Or is it all automated?
I mean, that's all contract. That's all smart contract. The only thing that we would manage like initially is with this system, you know, it has to be jump started.
Yeah.
So we have to basically run the first maybe like 50 to 100, you know, validators, and then, you know, go from there. So yeah, it has to be jump started, and all liquid staking protocols for the most part have been jump started.
Yep. You have to jumpstart a chain too. We, you know, so that happened in the beginning of PulseChain too. So that's totally understandable. Fast Abdul asks, how will you keep the price of the collateralization token up if the price of Pulse pumps? I could probably answer this one. Well, first of all, the tokenomics, as you found out later after you asked the question, it's the token is deflationary ultimately. I mean, it's inflationary for 4 years, but ultimately it's deflationary with a burn built into it. So that's part of it. And then I think what you're really asking, the meat of your question, is like, if Pulse is going to go on this massive run, how do you ensure that PPY token doesn't bleed to Pulse? And I mean, here's the thing, is like, we've seen this time and time again where any altcoins bleed to the native coin at some point in the cycle. And I don't think that's detrimental to the protocol at all. I think that opens up the ability for more people to collect PPY at a low price relative to Pulse. And then, you know, start either their own nodes, or, you know, you trade it on the market and stuff like that to create a market there. So, but what do you guys think in terms of, you know, how do you keep the price of PPY up while Pulse is pumping?
I mean, I feel like as more people start their own pipe pools, you're gonna have to get some PPY, buy some off the market, and people that are already operating their nodes, your PPY is locked up. So I feel like that kind of prevents a lot of selling pressure. Yes, there are rewards being distributed, but it's not like a crazy amount. So as more and more node operators are coming to this protocol and using our platform, more PPY is being locked up inside of these nodes. And as long as people are continuing to buy PPY, I feel like that is, you know, adding more liquidity into tokens. So the value of the token should go up along with that.
Yeah, I think node operators are incentivized to buy up the price when it's down too. So there will be, like, essentially there will come a time where there's a floor price. Just trying to figure out what that is now is kind of hard, but once it launches on mainnet, we could have an idea within the first like 3 to 6 months.
As far as the PPY floor,
about how PPY performs relative to Pulse in different kinds of environments. So in a really super bullish environment where Pulse is absolutely ripping, like, how does that affect PPY? Or like, you know, because this is something that you could extrapolate this out to, like, what happens when Pulse moons, and irregular validators would tend to, maybe they take some down. So like, what would happen sometimes is a guy with a lot of validators, Pulse moons like 50x. Yeah, that guy's probably going to close some validators down and go sell some Pulse. I mean, if the 50x happens in like a 6-week span, yeah, that guy's probably going to do that. And that's, so you can't like you can't solve for that. That's not even a problem. That's just part of the natural ebbs and flows of market cycles. But yeah, I think it's definitely something that you guys should also, you know, keep considering as you're going closer and closer to mainnet launch. Let's see, was there one more question? Oh yeah, Bitfinesse had a really good question for both of you guys, and Chris, you can answer first if you want.
Sure.
He says, what is your favorite part or piece of this protocol?
What's my favorite piece? Oh goodness. Considering, like, again, I've built majority of this out. You know, I have a physics background, so I'm a physicist actually. So I love data and I love numbers. And even though like the smart contract, the DeFi part of it is super cool and awesome, I think that building out like the calculator part, as well as the complete analytics. I I really believe that this is probably my favorite. Like all of this is my favorite. Just seeing all the analytics of it all, just seeing how everything operates. Mind you, this is a massive protocol with some things that will be added on to, in the near future. But I love the numbers of it all, and just seeing everything come together, even just like, the math behind it, like actually seeing like the dot, which represents the total current supply, literally sitting on the trend line. Like I know that my math was shit if I see the dot like up here where my cursor is. Like if I see the dot somewhere in these regions, it's bad math. But seeing it sit right on the trend, like it's beautiful. And so yeah, I think the calculator and the analytics page is my favorite part. DeFi wise, or like the actual platform wise, I would want to say the actual statuses, like actually seeing like, the validator being deposited, knowing that I just deposited here in the actual, like you can go to the beacon.
Yeah,
See
these
the
quality of
validator.
life things are really, really useful for like, for the user experience working backwards. Like as a user, it's right at the end when everything kind of comes together as a developer. And so like, yeah, these are like the cherries on top, right? At the end of the road.
I wanted to add that because, unfortunately, and I'm never, I'm not going to talk crap about PulseChain per se, but I would say that sometimes the PulseChain validator page, like the beacon page on main and testnet, sometimes give like I think a 504 error. So it doesn't work sometimes. So I figured to take it upon myself to just add, even if it's just something a little bit, minor, just adding these like little basic things to let people see like on the dashboard, like, hey, my validator is active, or okay, it's, it is actually exiting, or it's withdrawn. Because soon this is going to turn orange and it'll say withdrawn. So, I just wanted to I put it this way, and I think it's my a little bit of my neurodivergence. I wanted to keep so many things in mind when it comes to this platform.
Yeah, thanks, man. And JB, what are you thinking? What's your favorite piece?
I mean, to be honest, like the ease of use. Like I'm not a super technical guy. I just want to put my money to work.
Yeah.
Liquid staking is perfect for me. I go on the platform, liquid stake. Now I'm earning rewards for doing literally nothing except for pressing like 2 buttons maybe.
Yeah.
And even like I don't know, working with Chris, he's been teaching me a lot about, becoming a node operator. So I am getting more and more interested, but like all the code stuff, like, I mean, he made it super simple. So people that know what they're doing, it should be a streamlined process for them.
Mm-hmm.
But, in the future, I definitely see us partnering with some bigger like node infrastructure companies where it's also as simple as pressing a button. So now I can become a node operator, just clicking a button or two, and I'm actually able to earn the PPY token as well. And another thing that's kind of like the surrounding the brand is the infinite yield. Like it kind of makes sense. Like I'm able to stay liquid with ST Pulse. I can take that ST Pulse and take it to another DeFi protocol and use that to earn even more yield.
I know a
And
guy.
me and Chris have been talking. Yeah, we've been
This guy
talking
here.
about some ideas on how to like actually incorporate ST Pulse into the PulseChain ecosystem. We haven't fully built it out yet, so we definitely don't want to, jump the gun and speak on it. But I feel
Yeah, for
like
sure.
there's going to be a lot of possibilities with ST Pulse. And
yeah, I mean, I kind of opened the stream with some of those thoughts on possibilities down the road. And I mean, just even if you just get it once the mainnet's launched, it would not take a lot of effort to get an ST Pulse PLS pool on Fox.io, and then get additional rewards through the 2Fox.io platform. So yeah, we'll be if you need to talk to a guy, this guy seems to know a guy. So
yeah, I'm excited to see what the PulseChain ecosystem comes up with, because once this is live, people are going to find different ways to utilize tokens, earn more yield. And I feel like that's where like the natural growth kind of comes into play. So
this guy wants to know, this is probably a good way to start to kind of wrap up the stream and talk a little bit about the contest. But hey, people want to know, when is mainnet coming?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been getting that a lot, and I'm super excited for it too. But again, I mean, it comes down to really just shit. It comes down to the money. We've already went through our seed round with this, and now we're in our private round. There's, I want to say, about 250 or so slots remaining, so you can actually get PPY.
What's the size of a slot?
So the minimum is 2,500, and the max, it used to be 7,500, but we actually upped it up to 12,500. I, discussed this with Van and JB, and again, this is something that I didn't want to bring on the stream just yet. But
just hold off if it's something that you guys can't announce.
Yeah, but afterwards,
maybe you guys go check their Twitter. Maybe you'll make an announcement on there sometime.
Yeah, we'll definitely make an announcement. But yeah, low end, 2,500, and you're basically getting in at our TGE will be 3 cents. So private round is 2.5 cents. So you're
and this is utilizing the 200 million already minted PPY, right? That's part of what's distributed out through this early round. Am I wrong in saying that, or kind of what's the if I put in, like, let's say $5,000, I'm getting back 3 cents per PPY, is that right?
2.5 cents.
2.5 cents, okay.
Yes.
And it's the same for no matter if you're coming in at the low end or the high end.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we still have to fill out this round because again, we have to jumpstart the system. Can't really get anything going without it being jumpstarted. But even before that, contracts have to be audited. We want to make sure that we're building this. Shoot, I was the one that built a lot of this when it comes to the smart contract. So it's like, I'm not, I'm a human. I'm not perfect. So I already know that there may be some little things that I may have missed. So I always want to make sure that security is important. So we have to get this audited for sure.
Yeah. And is there like a total cap? Is there like a for sure hard cap on that? Like if you hit like a hard cap at like just 100, would that hit, or is it unlimited up to the 250?
No, it's just up to 250. Yeah. Okay. So 250 slots. Yeah, that's where we sit for private, and then after that is the public round, which basically that's the final round, and then we would go on to mainnet. Yeah, that leads up to, I suppose, the final part. You want to talk about it, JB?
About going on main?
No. Well, I mean, if you want to add on, but the
oh no, I mean, I'm looking forward to going on main, so I'm very excited about it. That's why I'm thinking about that. But I'll
be honest, I'm getting more excited at the idea of converting some Pulse into SC Pulse so easily, and just having that thing have a premium and accruing value for me. And then if I could just go stick that in a farm somewhere and earn additional yield, I think that's a pretty good start. I should get enough of these Hexagon-minded guys interested and excited.
No, for sure.
Rewards for everybody. But
by the way, I did not get paid to have these guys on. I just, I've been knowing these guys since the cruise last December, and so I've seen it start from the square one, and kind of they built out, and they've been really. Chris has been leading the charge here with his big brain, and Vandal is a kind of a business wizard, and JB's doing in marketing. And so look, these guys are a good team. And then they're backed by the PulseChain Foundation and the Atlanta Blockchain Center. You want to talk a little bit about that before you talk about the contest?
Oh yeah. So I know I'm like doxing myself like heavy right now, showing my face, but yeah, ABC right here is actually where I met Chris and Van. It's a physical location where builders can come and just like network, build your own projects. And it's actually funded by Starter Labs, which is a launch pad. And I believe Van and Chris, they went through the launch pad as well. But, for me personally, like being in the crypto blockchain space, it's hard to like talk to people. Most of the time I'm meeting people online, Discord groups, Telegram and whatnot. But once I found that there's a physical place where I could talk about this and not feel weird, because like when you try to talk to your other friends about this
The
meme
normies.
coin that's pumping, yeah, it's like they don't want to listen to it. But here, they not only do they love listening to you, but they also have gems for themselves, and it's just an awesome place to be. I believe the PulseChain tour, they actually visited us. I forget how long ago it was, but it's just cool to like meet people IRL that are also in this space, since we are so new. And
I
yeah,
can back that
so
up. There's a certain amount of legitimacy that comes from actually meeting people in person that are also just as weird as you are, and I say me too. We really like this idea of like kind of revolutionizing what money is, and creating cool opportunities, and it's all free speech or code of speech, and this is a pretty cool industry to be a part of here in its nascent phases. And so yeah, I'm with you, dude. It's meeting people in person is a huge part of really elevating your game. I always try to hammer that home. My last question, or my last thing would be, probably a tough question about like, have you guys vetted out your competition at all? Have you guys looked into any other competition, or would that have any impact or factor on your design style or anything like that when it comes to the protocol? Or is this pretty much, whoever
I
wants to answer?
mean, the first thing I want to say is I feel like if you have competitors, that means there's a market for it.
Mhm.
It is a good idea. It kind of solidifies that it's a good idea. Nike versus Adidas, Apple versus Microsoft, like big companies still have competitors to the day that last like long periods of time. And I feel like as long as we, stay on our mission and try to build the best product possible, it will speak for itself. If we're able to, make the process of liquid staking or becoming node operator easier, more simple to use, people would want to use our platform. If we're able to provide more rewards, people would want to use our platform. So I'm personally not worried. I'm very confident in what Chris has built out, and just having like another liquid staking platform on PulseChain, I don't think it's necessarily like a bad thing. I think it's very greedy if we want to be the only one. Like even on Ethereum, there's Lido and Rocket Pool. So I feel like competition is good just for
Mhm.
more exposure. But at the end of the day, it's who's able to build a better product.
Yeah.
That's what will bring in the actual customers. And yeah, that's
That's a
my
really
piece
good
on that.
that's a really good answer, man. I think everyone can get behind that. Cool. All right. Well, let's wrap up with your announcement.
Yeah. So we wanted to, me and Chris have been cooking up this idea for, maybe 2 weeks now. And we wanted to announce it on the Axis stream first so everyone can get the alpha here,
Let's
But we're going to
go,
start
dude.
this
Thank you.
contest tomorrow. Basically, what it is
I'll put the link in the chat.
creating a tutorial contest. So, liquid staking, I showed you how easy it is to do, but basically we want some more community engagement. So we're looking for people to make quick videos or even a blog post, a Twitter thread on how the process works. And you can literally go back and watch this stream and see what I basically said and just repurpose it in your own creative way. And I think we're gonna host this for about a week just to have, give some time for people to actually create the content. And something that Chris brought up was he actually wants to feature the dope videos and blogs in our docs. So I believe Chris has he actually made a video for another company, and it's still up today. So it's just a cool way to allow people to be a part of the process and kind of leave their mark. And obviously, it would be cool if people just did this out of the good of their heart. But we do have a prize of $200 in Pulse, and we will announce the winner next Friday. So keep out an eye for that. If you just follow us on Project Pi 314 on Twitter, or even join our Telegram, we try to give our Telegram the most up-to-date news compared to our Twitter, but Twitter's not lagging too far behind. But I'll say if you stay tapped into either of those platforms, you'll know what's going on in the Project Pi world. But yeah, I believe Axis just linked the Medium article just read through it. It takes like 2 minutes to read. And making a video or whatnot just take you maybe 5 or 10. Super simple. And I'm really excited to see what people make, because I want to see what other people say about it, and like their own like process and like thought process about how to liquid stake. Because I mean, I've been doing it for a couple months, so I guess I might be like a little bit blindsided from certain things. So just curious, honestly, on the outside perspective on how easy this is, or maybe they've even find something that we could make even easier. So yeah, we're opening this up to everybody here. I believe there's like a Google form to deposit
Yep, right here.
your submit your form. But yeah,
so go check that out, guys. Contest ends August 31st at 11:59 Eastern. Come out with your best tutorial videos for how to use Project Pi platform. I'm sure these guys would love it if you'd hop into the Telegram channel. I put the link to the Telegram channel in the chat here. So let's go. Who's going to win that $200?
Just to add on, I used to basically make like a lot of note videos for like different companies like Go Plugin, which is on the XDC or ZenFin blockchain. I used to work for them for 2 years. And before I even got to work for them, I basically made tutorials for them. And they weren't paying me anything, but I just supported their community, and I liked what they were doing, and they offered me the job. And before that, I did a video for I did a tutorial for Presearch. It's a decentralized search engine browser, and they liked my work, and they put it in their community tutorials. So then I just thought, well, community is very important, and I would love to build a really solid community with this, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're trying to go, not even trying, we are going for something that would be much more decentralized over time, and community has to be present for this to actually be able to achieve that goal. So I'm going to choose, well, it's going to be, basically Project Pi and a few other people. We're basically going to choose several videos that we see that, they hit the points right on the T. They'll be in our official documentation as well.
Very cool, man. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for giving us that demo. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this next private round goes for you. I hope you guys can capture some support here, and very much looking forward to your guys' bright future. So I wanted to say thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys probably not in the not too distant future, I hope, with some updates.
For sure, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thanks
for having us on, man.
I know we had talked the other day privately about a little gem, maybe about this concept of utilizing some of the learnings from the PTGC ecosystem. Shout out to those guys about how they were able to basically use transactional volume to feed back into the LP pools. And wouldn't it be cool if this system also was able to grow its liquidity pools autonomously? So I'll leave you guys with that. All right.
Awesome.
Gentlemen.
Thanks again.
We'll see you guys on the other side.
Yes, sir.
Peace.